What's going on, everybody? I hope you've had a fantastic Monday morning so far / early afternoon. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I apologize that my voice is a little bit hoarse right now because I was literally yelling my lungs off during the New York Giants game last night. And the Giants, while it wasn't pretty, while it had some moments that made you nervous, that made you want to scream, made you want to yell, made you want to get angry, the Giants went out there and they won the football game in old-fashioned, old-school football against your NFC East rival Washington Commanders. The Giants get a big win last night by the score of 20-12. They go to 8-5-1 on the season, and Washington drops to 7-6-1. And now the Giants are in prime position to make the playoffs. If they can go out to Minnesota, handle their business there, it's not going to be easy. Minnesota's a tough team. Also, you have the Colts, who just blew a 33-0 lead to Minnesota. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Now, first off, the first thing I want to say about the Giants: what a gritty effort by the defense, especially that defensive line. The defensive line, for the most part, asserted their dominance against that Washington Commanders offensive line. They had that offensive line of Washington dancing all over the place. Washington couldn't get any good placement trying to handle that Giants pass rush, no matter who it was. And of course, and this might be like, the Kayvon Thibodeaux fanboy coming out, but what a freaking game by Kayvon Thibodeaux. Giants fans, we got a pass rusher. Giants fans, we got a closer. Giants fans, we got a guy to build this team around going into the future. What a performance by Kayvon Thibodeaux. 12 tackles total. 9 tackles solo. One sack in the game. He had 3 tackles for a loss. He had 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown, and arguably the biggest play of this entire football game. Kayvon Thibodeaux came out there when the Giants needed him, when the Giants needed one of their players, their best players, to come out there and have himself a game and take over the game and dominate. And that's exactly what Kayvon Thibodeaux did. Kayvon Thibodeaux went out there and he dominated the football game from start to finish. Thibodeaux was unbelievable last night. He was all over the place. Even when there were plays missed by other players on the defense, Thibodeaux was right there to make the tackle. And any Giant fan that was ever questioning this guy as a bust, go watch the film of the game that he had last night. And he just shows the type of player that Kayvon Thibodeaux will be for this team. And that's the reason why we drafted this guy at number 5 in this past NFL draft. This guy is a difference maker on the defensive side. He's a difference maker. The dude took over the football game when we needed him to. And how about the rest of that defensive line? Dexter Lawrence and Azeez Ojulari had a big play in this game as well. Azeez Ojulari had a strip sack on one of those plays. Obviously, Washington recovered it, but Azeez Ojulari had a strip sack. And Dexter Lawrence with one of the other big plays of the game when he tackled Taylor Heinicke, sacked him to the ground, and forced that fumble in which Leonard Williams recovered it. That defensive line was a big reason why we won this football game. And I will even say it was the biggest reason we won this football game. They did an excellent job on the field. Excellent job. Leonard Williams, he was even solid out there too. Not spectacular, but Leonard Williams did his job. Kudos to that pass rush. Kudos to that defensive line. That's exactly what we want to see as Giants fans. We want to see that defensive line Go out there and dominate the football game, and that's exactly what they did. They dominated the football game from start to finish. And they're the biggest reasons why we won this game yesterday. Landon Collins, just getting elevated from the practice squad, coming up to the main squad. He had some big plays as well. Landon Collins had 3 tackles in the game, but he had 3 big tackles in the game. He was all over the place too. Tony Jefferson had some good plays too. This entire team did an excellent job on defensive side. Besides the cornerbacks are still an issue, but we know that. Nick McLeod, Darnay Holmes, whoever it is, Cordero Flott, Fabian Moreau, these guys are average corners at best. And I'm very happy about the safety play too. Julian Love, who didn't have a spectacular game, did his job in the back end of the defense. Jason Pinnock, even though he got beat on that one play down the middle of the field by Jahan Dotson, who made an unbelievable catch against him. Pinnock had a nice game with some big hits in that football game too, including 2 passes defended. I liked our safeties. I liked our pass rush. Linebackers, besides Landon Collins, and cornerbacks, it's a different story. And then getting to the offensive side of the field. First, I'm going to start with Saquon Barkley. For the most part, Saquon was bottled up. Saquon was bottled up for the most part in this game. He was pretty much held to 37, 38 yards for most of this game, about 3.5 quarters. Saquon Barkley was doing nothing in the running game. Washington had his number. But when the Giants needed Saquon Barkley the most, when Washington cut the lead to 17-12, and we needed Saquon Barkley to get some of those big runs, that's exactly what he did. He ripped off 3 runs of 18, of 20, and about 12 to get us all the way in field goal range for Graham Gano to kick that field goal to put us up by 8. And how about freaking Graham Gano too? This dude is pretty much Mr. Automatic. When he's out there on the field, I am as calm as can be because I know Graham Gano is going to go out there and hit the field goal. Whether it's 50 plus, 40, 30, it doesn't matter. This guy's he's going to hit the field goals. But Saquon Barkley, when we needed him the most, he went out there and got the job done. He had 37 yards, and those last 3 runs, he had 50 yards plus. And then Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones was the tale of 2 halves, to be honest. I think the first half, he was making timely throws. He was going out there. He was hitting guys in their breadbasket, making good throws on the football field, including that 4th and 9 play where he hit Richie James right in the middle of the field. And Richie James had an underrated nice game. Not great, but underrated nice game. Daniel Jones was a little bit more rocky in the second half, even though he had some nice runs too. He had a nice bootleg run on that 3rd down and 5 play till he ran to the outside and picked up that first down. Jones was Jones. He was very good in the first half. He was pedestrian in the second half. That's what I could say about him. And the offensive line, for the most part, I thought the offensive line was solid. Andrew Thomas had one of his better games again. He bounced back after some back-to-back, unlike Andrew Thomas games. He played very well yesterday. He held up well in the run game. He held up well in the pass game. He gave Daniel Jones the security he needed. John Feliciano is John Feliciano. He is what he is. I actually thought Glowinski had a very good game too. I think Glowinski did a pretty solid job holding up in the middle. Call me naive. Call me out of there. I thought Glowinski was solid yesterday. Evan Neal probably had one of his worst games. He did solid at times during this game, but for the most part, Evan Neal struggled. Montez Sweat had his number yesterday. 2 false starts and he gave up 5 hurries. Evan Neal's got a learning curve he's got to keep making, but I'm not worried about Evan Neal because I think in the end, when this kid gets more experience, he's going to be good. And I'm going to talk about the guy I have been talking about for weeks. Ben Bredeson has been a major key to this offensive line. The second he got inserted back in that offensive line, when they were rotating him and Nick Gates at left guard, I thought Bredeson was a difference maker. When he got in there, it seemed like the offensive line stabilized. And on those key runs by Saquon Barkley up the middle, those 3 runs, Bredeson was there, sealing off his defender to open it up for Barkley to run right through. Giants fans, it's time to give Ben Bredeson the respect this guy deserves. Bredeson has been an underrated pickup by Dave Gettleman last year when he traded for him right before the beginning of the 2021 season. And Bredeson has come in and he's solidified that left guard position. I don't want to hear about Nick Gates playing left guard. I don't want to hear about Shane Lemieux. Shane LaHoo should be more like it. Because that's all Lemieux has been. He's been invisible. Dude has played half a game so far this season. And Azeez, he's got more work to do. He's a developmental guy. Same thing with McKeithen when he comes back. Next year, Ben Bredeson is my left guard. He's my left guard going into next season. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was a very, very, very good win by the New York Giants last night. It was a very good win. There's still things to work on. And I'm not going to be delusional to think that this team is all of a sudden going to win, rip off 4 in a row. I think we're going to start steamrolling teams in the playoffs. No. There's still deficiencies on this football team. And this is the fans' perspective. This is not the GM or whatever it is perspective, the content creator's perspective. This is the fans' perspective. This team has still got a lot of holes and weaknesses in it. And we play against Dallas or Philly, or we play against even a Minnesota next week. We're going to get exposed if they're able to get off some of these big points in the games. We just can't score. We scored 13 points yesterday. Defense scored 7. We scored 13. The offense is limited. Not going to talk about the wide receiver position. We already know that's not good. And the tight end position looks like it might need a little bit of an upgrade too. The passing game in general is what it is. But at the same time, when the Giants need their big players at times in this game to rise up and win this game, that's exactly what they did. Kayvon Thibodeaux, Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Julian Love. These guys all stepped up when we needed them to. They stepped up and they helped us get this win. As ugly as it might have been, as unappealing a win as it is, it's still a gritty, old school football win. That's what I want to see from my team. You find ways to win, and last night the Giants found a way to win the football game, and now we're 8-5-1 and in very good position to make the playoffs, and that's all I and my other Giants fans want, is just to make the playoffs and give us a chance. Because we are playing, I know, we're playing with house money. I get it. I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. The offseason will come when it comes, but I'm thinking about the here and now. And right now, this team is an 8-5-1 football team heading to Minnesota with a good chance to make the playoffs. Not 100% sealed, but we are in a good position to make the playoffs this year. And I never would have thought that as a Giants fan going into this season, that I thought we were going to be a playoff team. But goddamn, am I so happy we are. This has been an amazing season so far. Kudos to the coaching staff. They still got work to do. Kafka still needs to get some of these offensive plays a lot better. We still need to upgrade this roster by a whole lot. There's still incomplete parts of this roster. But at the same time, the Giants are in position to make the NFL playoffs with a roster that has talent, but let's just be real. It's a team that is deficient at certain areas on this team, especially on the offensive side of the football. But I don't give a crap. We're on playoff bound. We're a team that's on the cusp of potentially making the playoffs. Go out there and handle your business. Shock the world against Minnesota. It's not going to be an easy football game, but Minnesota can be had. The Indianapolis Colts, they're a Jekyll and Hyde football team with a rookie head coach who's only been coaching for about 5 games. Go out there and handle your business in your last home game at MetLifeStadium. Give that home crowd something to be happy about. And Giants fans, you better be goddamn loud on Week 17 against the Colts. But as a Giants fan, I could not be happier with what I saw tonight, or last night. I could not be happier. Because while it wasn't pretty, while there's things to work on, while this team still has issues offensively and defensively, and special teams, they pulled out the victory, and their big players stepped up when we needed them to. Shout out to Kayvon Thibodeaux, Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence, our defensive line. Shout out to Daniel Jones, where he wasn't great. He made some great throws out there in the first half, and he helped make some big plays to put us in a position to win. Shout out to Saquon Barkley for getting those 3 big runs up the middle and helping get us that field goal to put us up 20-12. And shout out to the New York Football Giants for having the grit, the heart, the fight, and the tenacity to go out there on Sunday Night Football when nobody gave us a goddamn chance to win. Everybody was picking Washington, and we're taking our receipts. We are taking our goddamn receipts. When y'all picked against us, guess what? We'll take them in cash, check, however you want it. 8-5-1. Big NFC East win tonight. I keep saying tonight because it feels like tonight. I'm just so happy. Let's go out there and let's shock the world against Minnesota. Let's go New York Football Giants, baby. That's my Giant Blue recap. So if you like this video, hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGFJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, chatter, and game recaps surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short that's going to be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And Giants fans, content creators, everybody out there, let me know in the comment section how you're feeling after this New York Giants victory on Sunday Night Football against the Washington Commies, whatever the hell you want to call them. 20-12. We're on to Minnesota. 8-5-1. Playoff bound. Here we come. Let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.